guys, welcome back to Read Instead. I am Jake. Glad to have you here tonight on this beautiful, frigid, nasty February night in New England. I hope you guys are reading something good. Usually when it's terrible weather outside, that's sort of the green light for us to pick up a good book and get into it. You know what I mean? Listen, I apologize. I haven't seen you guys in a while. For those few of you that follow my videos and my reviews, I sort of took the month of January off. I just had some personal stuff in my life that I really just didn't have too much time to read, too much mental capacity to read anyway. I ended up reading 2 books in the month of January, but I wanted to jump on here tonight. I have, the enthusiasm and the desire to share with you guys one book in particular that I read this past month in January, and then just tell you what I plan on reading in the month of February. And then, over the next couple of weeks, I'd like to just do some really sort of like random videos. I feel like maybe the monotony of... I feel like most booktubers are on sort of the same cycle of videos that we make. We do our monthly wrap-ups, we do our book haul videos, we do our TBRs, our books that we plan to read for the upcoming month, things of that nature. And then we do, of course, as you just probably realized last month, the first week of January. Actually, people tend to start them like the last week of December for some reason, but a lot of booktubers put out their top 10 books that they read in 2024. I made my own video of that, the top 10 books that I read in 2024. I would love for you guys to check it out if you haven't yet. But for the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna make some random videos, okay? Just random videos, obviously, things that have to do with reading and books and stuff like that, but they're not just gonna be your average book reviews or book hauls or anything like that. So anyway, without further ado, I want to share, I read 2 books this past month in January. One of them was Blake Crouch's Recursion, and you know what's interesting? I didn't even pull it off the shelf to show you guys, and that's nothing against the book itself. I actually enjoyed it, but the other book that I read just was really, really enjoyable, and it's certainly going to be the book of the month for January, and I have it right over here, and let me just share this with you guys. This is The Poet by Michael Connelly. All right, you guys know that I'm a big Michael Connelly fan. I've read 6 of the Harry Bosch detective novels, okay? For those of you guys who don't know, Michael Connelly is a mystery writer, detective, crime writer, kind of falls into all those genres, and his main series that he's been writing since the early 90s is the Harry Bosch detective series. Harry Bosch is a detective in the city of Los Angeles, a homicide detective, and you kind of just follow him case by case and sort of some things that he deals with in his personal life. And as the series goes on, I'm only 6 books into it. I believe there's about at least 20 of those. At some point in my life, I'll get to all of them for sure. But what I was saying is, as this series goes on, you learn more and more about Harry Bosch as a man, as a person, and I've enjoyed all of those books. Some more than others, but every one of those 6 Harry Bosch detective novels that I've read, I have enjoyed. Okay, so here's that, and I knew going into this that this was a standalone novel. This book is not a part of a series. It's not tied to any other books or anything like that. So this is a standalone novel, and it was highly regarded. So I read this. I always, no matter what I hear, I try to go in with sort of the same expectations to every novel I read, because I tend to just read hits. You know what I mean? Hit novels that are pretty renowned and popular. So having said all that, this is my new favorite Michael Connelly novel. This was really, really good. It was spooky. It was definitely like the spookiest Michael Connelly novel that I've read so far. And all of the novels have to do with, homicide, and a lot of times they're pretty gruesome. But this just had an element about it that was different than the rest. One reason I think and something that really drew me to it was that it wasn't through the point of view character of a detective. So this is through the point of view of a newspaper reporter. And let me just give you the 2 minute synopsis of what this book is about. As soon as this book opens up, you meet a newspaper reporter by the name of Jack McAvoy. And again, right at the beginning of this novel, I'm not giving anything away. It's within the first 5 pages. He learns that his twin brother, who is a homicide detective, and they both work in the same town, Denver, Colorado. He learns that his twin brother was found in his car overlooking a lake, and they rule his death a suicide. Two brothers, a newspaper reporter who's actually a homicide reporter, homicide detective, same town. Cop brother is found to have committed suicide. The other brother, Jack McAvoy, starts to dig into it, and he uses his investigative journalist skills to sort of do some detective work, and he soon realizes that there was a lot of things that were overlooked, and there's a lot more to the story about what happened to his brother. And actually, his brother's death ends up being connected to a much sort of grander, bigger, ominous, scary thing that has been going on. And I don't want to give too much more away because I hope I just sort of sold this novel to you. The Poet by Michael Connelly was the best book that I read in January. Okay, and that brings us to February. I have 3 books picked out for the month of February that I want to finish. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to get into for the month of February is Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. And you guys know that I'm a big fan of the Red Rising saga, the trilogy that came right before this particular book. It's one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite science fiction series of all time. Not that I've thinking about it. I haven't read too many science fiction series, but I just that whole trilogy was just awesome from beginning to end. All 3 books, and this is the 4th book. I believe that there are basically 2 trilogies that are sort of back to back, but they all part of the same world and a lot of the same characters and stuff like that. So I haven't read any Pierce Brown in quite a long time, in a couple of years at least. It's been like probably 3 years since I read the Red Rising saga. Excuse me. So I want to get into this. It's been sitting on my shelf for a little while now, and I'm looking forward to it. I planned on reading this at the end of last year, 2024. I put this on a list of books that I definitely want to read for 2025. So I'm gonna read this this month, February. Okay, the next book that I want to read in the month of February 2025 is going to be The Pagan Lord by Bernard Cornwell. Very similar to Michael Connelly. These 2 authors, but I know they're very different authors, but Bernard Cornwell and Michael Connelly, they both write very big, long series, and both of those series I've read about the same amount of books, and I like them probably equally the same. So Bernard Cornwell, the English author, has written a couple different longer series, and one in particular is called the Saxon Tales, and I believe I've talked about this series on this channel before. Again, similar to Michael Connelly, we're talking about a series that has about 15 or 16 books. Not as many as the Harry Bosch series, but quite a few. I believe this is going to be number 7 in the series, The Pagan Lord. And again, I've liked every one of the books in the Saxon Tales. They're just great. They're adventurous. They're bloody and violent, and they're just like hardcore 800s AD in England, and then England is sort of an open ground for conquest, and you have the norms coming in from mainland Europe, and diplomacy going on with France, and then you have the different sort of you have the Saxons and the Danes, all sort of fighting and vying for power in England. And it's just really really cool, all told through the point of view of one in particular warrior soldier that ends up. uh I don't want to give too much away. He kind of as the series goes on, he kind of switches back and forth from side to side. um but they're just really fun to read, so I want to get back into this. It's been a while since I read a book in this series, so I'm going to be reading the seventh book in the Saxon Tales series by Bernard Cornwell, called The Pagan Lord. Okay, and last but not least, the last book that I'm planning on reading this month in February will be Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. That one's not going to stay. So Joe Abercrombie is the creator of the First Law universe, and you have a trilogy of books called the First Law, that I'm a big fan of, that I read quite a while ago. And then you have these three standalone books that come after those. And then it goes into another trilogy that's also in the same world, but sort of with a greater technology, and as if time just continued on. That's the way I've understood it. This will be the last um, book in the standalones, the three standalones, before I get into the next trilogy. The next trilogy is called The Age of Madness. So one more time, if I just can explain that correctly. You have first trilogy called the First Law trilogy. Then you have three standalone books. You have Best Served Cold, you have Heroes, The Heroes, and then you have Red Country. These are the three standalone books that come in between the original First Law trilogy, and then the second First Law trilogy, which is entitled The Age of Madness. I've been waiting for quite a long time to get into the trilogy of The Age of Madness, but everyone that I talk to, and on in different discords and on booktube, tells me that it's a good idea to read these three standalones before I get into the next trilogy. So that's what I've been doing, and this will be the last one before I get into that. I've never read a bad Joe Abercrombie book, so I'm looking forward to this one. This will be the last book that I read in the month of February 2025, Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. Okay, guys, as always, I hope you're reading something good. Stay tuned over the next couple of weeks. I want to do some fun videos that I hope you guys will like and enjoy. And I made a goal for 2025. I really would like to do some read-alongs and stuff like that. So if any of you out there are interested in picking up the same book and reading it, I'm not like married to these books. I don't have to read them, but if we can all decide on something, I'm certainly down for that. So you guys let me know. You guys take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.